Something I have never asked Casey from Brick by Brick Wealth is what does her and her husband Blake do with equity? Is it part of the plan that they use to buy the next thing? Is it something they can't talk this morning. This is why you do these things live. Just let it sit there and move on. So Casey, what are you doing with the equity? Is it part of the plan? What are you doing?
So we're really boring and we let it sit in the houses.
That's okay.
um, so for our primary, we do have a HELOC on it that I got a few years ago. We could probably redo it and get more, but we do have a HELOC just in case we wanted more funds to buy houses all cash. We
Okay.
haven't used it yet. We've had it for several years, but it just kind of sits there. And I would recommend anyone that has a primary to get a HELOC. That's my personal recommendation. You can have it for a rainy day. You can use it to buy properties all cash. You can use it to upgrade your own property and create instant equity from upgrades. So HELOCs are a great way to have funds for down payments and also to increase the value of your own home. A lot of my students use HELOCs to use funds from their HELOC on down payments for another one. And I'll give a free tip. There is a bank that I love. It's called PNC Bank. And right now, and they've been doing it, I don't know for how long, because it's too good to be true, they offer fixed rate home equity lines.
Wow.
Yeah,
PNC.
I know.
Okay.
I know. PNC will give you a fixed rate. I should get commission for this. Give a
Yeah.
fixed rate. They give you a fixed rate long-term loan, on your HELOC. And guess what's even cooler?
Hmm.
For 200 or 250 bucks, you can relock your rate
Wow.
up to five times in the life of the loan. So let's say you want to, so I've had students do this. They live in California. They got a huge equity on their home. They've got a big HELOC and they have a $200,000 HELOC. Let's say they will go buy one or two properties cash out of state somewhere, and they'll be their own bank because they can get a fixed rate HELOC. So they know it's not adjustable. They're not scared that it's going to go to 10, 12% or something. They can use that fixed rate. Let's say today their fixed rate is 7%. And you're like, oh, that's not so great. Well, let's say, like you're saying, Michael, maybe by the end of the year, we see rates 6%. You have 5 times to relock your rate during the life of that loan. So you get for 200
Nice.
bucks, 250, you can go relock and have. So I think that's freaking awesome.
Mm.
So instead of having an adjustable loan to do that, it's much more safe. So that's a quick tidbit. But for us, we do let our equity sit in our rental houses. And it's because my husband is very conservative and he would really like to pay them all off. He feels much
Okay.
safer that way. A lot of them are really close to being paid off, and we only owe like $40,000 to $50,000 on most of them. So we could pay them all off tomorrow if we can. And I think that's just a weight off his shoulders. Like,
Mm.
I don't have to work. And he's like, Casey, we could sell all these rentals and we could go buy our dream house cash.
Right.
Like, why, it's about the whole lifestyle upgrade. We have a great house. Our living room kind of sucks. We can't have a big Christmas tree. We got 8-foot ceilings. So it's like, well, we could go work for 30 more years and have this huge mortgage payment. We could just sell our rentals and,
Yeah.
take that equity and buy our dream home. Like, what's life all about? So there's a lot of choices. But I know a lot of people do constantly, cash out refinance. Understandably, I mean, I get it. But even
Mhm.
right now, it's not something we would do because all of our
Sure.
interest rates are way lower than today. I
Yeah,
do,
for
I
sure.
do feel like rolling them into a portfolio loan and being able to use that equity for bigger projects, maybe down the line, is something that we will do.
Okay.
But the plan's not always to just cash out refi until we die. We like to let's just
Yeah.
collect houses and keep those payments low so we can get most of that cash flow for our pockets.
So again, this is so much fun to talk about because again, the other thing you've done, and people can go back in your playlist, you've actually closed 2 deals in the last, I don't know,
Yeah.
call it 60 days,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of interesting because a lot of people are like, hey, if you're going to do it the Casey's way, it's going to take a year and a half to rebuild the down payment. But really, I think what you're seeing, because again, you have fixed rate debt, they're really low with rising interest rates, or I'm sorry, rising rents. You're starting to have this income snowball. This is something Dion has talked about, right? Once you get to a certain point, that the money stacks up faster, so you're able to buy one a lot sooner than you could the first time you did it. Is that what's happening?
Yes. And let's not forget time
Yeah.
and rental rates rising. I mean,
Yeah.
our first rental property that we bought, we bring in 900 a month cash flow on that every month now. So that's just one house. Now, if I would have cashed out refi and we were barely skimming by with 100 or 200 bucks in cash flow, yeah, I bought another house that's doing the same thing. But my pot's not filling up as quick.
Right.
So I think that's something people forget about. And yeah, that house we bought in 2016, so it's been a few years, but just that one house, which is almost paid off really, and we could
Mm.
tomorrow, we could net almost all the cash flow if we wanted, minus property taxes and home insurance. And I do self-manage, but that one house brings us 900 a month. Now we're
Right.
on house 8. So after a few years, we're going to have, higher, the rents are going to increase
Yep.
and our payments will stay the same. And, it is a snowball, and it is a safe feeling,
Yep.
knowing that we aren't over leveraged, that we don't have a lot of debt. And really, the whole, economic, meltdown that's kind of happening right now, it's not really affecting us at all. We
Yeah.
have great, if anything, for our current rentals, it's a blessing in disguise because our tenants aren't out buying houses. Like, that's so mean to say, but
Yeah.
they can't compete with the investors in the area because Memphis is, a huge investor hub for, people. I think 70% of investors in Memphis are even out of state. Imagine the ones that are
Wow.
in state too, that are local. I mean, it's crazy out here. Still, it's never really slowed down. But the poor, like, entry level,
It's
people
tough.
wanting to buy their first home, like, not happening, not happening at all. So we're seeing our renters, our nice, amazing tenants, stay even longer than they would before, than they have ever have, so.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about. Do you have, are you just constantly shopping for the next one? I know you just closed deal number 8. Do you have an internal goal like, Blake, we're going to get to 10 and be done? Do you have, like, where does this go, Casey?
10 was always the goal initially. I'm having
Okay.
10. Now with our primary, we have 9. And the past 2
Okay.
houses, we've started to split off because I've never had my own income. So we've never been able to, you buy one, I buy one. I was a stay-at-home mom. I didn't make any money, so I wasn't
Right.
going to qualify for diddly squat. So we're on the loans and title for 6 properties. And then finally, the last 2, since now I make some money, it's been a couple of years in my coaching business, I could qualify on my own for some more rentals. So that's what we're going to do, is save our last ones. And the last 2 were his loans, and the next 2 will be, the next probably whatever will be mine, because he'll probably stop working soon at some
Ah,
point. He loves what he does, but he could also be home.
yeah, he could be
So
home helping out. That'd be awesome.
yeah. So, and then since some of the properties are really close to being paid off, if we did want that Fannie Freddie loan again, we could just pay one off,
Yep.
and now it opens up a new spot for another one. DSCR loans are now becoming more competitive
Yep.
to regular investor loans, so it's really not a bad
Yeah.
deal. Problem is, they always have a prepayment penalty, and with today's rates, I don't really want to lock myself into a 7% DSCR loan for 3 years or 5 years,
Yeah.
depending upon what the step down, prepayment
Yep.
penalty scale is. So, but it's not a bad idea, not a bad thought to think, okay, well, once we run out of our 10 loans, 10 each, we can go DSCR. They are more competitive. I just have to do that when the rates are good, because
Mhm.
I don't want to lock myself in for a long
Yeah.
time at a high rate.
And then you did plant a seed earlier. I just wanted to talk about, obviously there's thoughts of a dream home or forever home, whatever you want to call that. Uh, how serious is that? Go find that dream spot. Go, you know what? In order to afford this, we got to sell everything. Is that something you've
Yeah.
seriously considered, or is that, not very likely?
So we wouldn't have to sell everything. I think
Okay.
we could buy our dream home and keep the home we're in now, but our home has a pool, and, like, I don't want to rent it out. I think we need to sell this house, although it'd be
Yeah.
great income. Like, I think our mortgage is 1,400 and it would rent for 3,500. So it'd be great, but we need some things at this.
Yeah.
We'll need a new roof soon. We are a pool, like, I need some help, which is going to be thousands and thousands. So I think we're better off selling, unfortunately. But we wouldn't have to, sell our rentals to buy our dream home. We have money saved for a
Mhm.
down payment for our dream home, and we could afford it with our rental income and our income that we have now. But it would be nice knowing, like, hey, we could, like, buy
Free
it
and
cash
clear.
and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just start over with rentals again. So we have our dream home free and clear,
Yeah.
and we could just start over with more rentals. We only have 8, I mean, to do it
Yeah.
again. Although
Yeah.
we're
Absolutely.
going to be, the first house we bought was 92,500, and we only owe less than 40 on it, but
Yeah.
today it's worth 250. So I won't be likely looking in Memphis anymore. I'm going to be in one of my other areas that my other students invest in, because the good areas in Memphis, the only way to cash flow with them now is to buy them. They need work, and leave the loan alone. There's
Right.
no cash at refi. There's no
No
cash
burr.
flow at ARV here. In
Yeah.
the nice areas, in the crappy areas all day, but you don't want to buy
Yeah.
there.
There you go. Well, Casey, somebody wanted to follow along with you. Where are we sending them?
You can find me everywhere at Brick by Brick Wealth, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Brick by BR Wealth, and my website, of course, brickbybrickwealth.com.
Awesome. If you want to see Casey's story, you can always go to One Rental at a Time, Meet the Millionaires, and you see her lovely picture right there. Casey, thank you so much.